So at this time, right now, it's a lot of information unpacked. I want to do this. Do we have any questions for any of the panelists or myself? Yeah, we already got one. Dude. So let's get a mic over there. And
the mic runners coming around.
Anybody that you guys want to ask on the panel, more than welcome to ask it, and we'll give a help guide you guys.
Hey guys, thank you for coming out today. My name is Samuel Hall. I'm the president and founder of Patriots for American Militia. We do a lot on 1A and 2A constitutional rights, spoken in Austin, all over the state, television interviews, radio interviews. But what we're most well known for is our mission to combat child sex trafficking, and we have a team called Rapid Response that goes out and rescues kids. Here's my question. In a lot of cases, obviously we don't wear badges, right? So it's Hannah, correct ma'am? Specifically in Fort Worth, we went to go rescue a child, 16-year-old, Michaelia, was registered with the Center for Missing Children. They found her finally with her trafficker. I still have the surveillance camera footage of the Metro PCS where he's buying her a phone, and when they caught her and they caught him with her, they let him go. They let him go. Another time, we were in Hilltown to rescue Layla. Hilltown is unincorporated Denton County. It's worse than a third world country. It's stash houses, meth labs, Hilltown. So a lot of gang activity. Let me ask you this. Denton County knew we were there because we always have our LEOs back us up because we can't kick down doors. We're not a SWAT team. We don't wear badges. So we get the surveillance. We get the confirmation of identity and location verification. Then we call it in. We had both that night, and they never showed up. Wow. And so she continued to be trafficked, and she was eventually found in a tool shed with bruises on her back and face. And she popped for every opioid that you can imagine. We were in South Irving because we got intel from Answer International, which is our partners, who's rescued over 5,000 kids in 54 countries since 2004, because a mother and a son were threatened by a trafficker that was trafficking young girls out of an apartment complex. We showed up, and right about 12:30 a.m., we had 2 units. You see all these guys here, and the guy over there that looks just like Steven Seagal? We were all there that night. About 12:30, guy comes out with a young girl. He's got his left hand is on her arm, his right hand's over the back of her neck, and he shoves her in a car and takes off, and me and her take off, and we're in hot pursuit, and Officer Sandiford, the vice commander who knew we were gonna be out there that night, didn't answer his phone.
Is this question for me?
This is for you and mostly Mr. Mata, yes.
Okay.
So my question is, and I say this for this reason. I say this for this reason. Why isn't law enforcement, I'm not saying you specifically, Hannah, right?
Well, I worked on the Michaelia case, so I can speak to that.
Okay. Why isn't law enforcement doing more for organizations like ours? So why can't we work more cohesively? Because it seems very nonchalant for us, who is a volunteer organization. We don't take any donations. Right? We do this, we go suit up, we put on our bulletproof vest, and we go try to get these kids out of hell, but it's almost like pulling teeth working with law enforcement, and I've worked with Officer Candelaria and Mr. Mata in Dallas, and we've worked a lot with Dallas. And here's what I was told. Dallas, and this is from your own police department, you get promoted for looking the other way, and you get chastised for making a difference.
So let's answer the question. Okay, so the question is that what is someone without a badge able to do to assist law enforcement, or law enforcement isn't doing their job, so whose fiduciary duty is it? That's kind of what I'm getting from it. Is that the question? Here you go, officer.
Thank you for being really passionate about trafficking. Honestly, I wish there was more people that were interested and really passionate about it, because we could use more like that. So I do appreciate you bringing up Michaelia. I worked on that, worked overtime on that case. I'm not going to speak to a case. She's a juvenile, and I'm not going to speak to what's going on on a case that's without our parents' permission. But there is reasons. We can't always tell. Victims of trafficking don't always outcry. And I'm sorry that you felt like that people weren't working with you. I can't speak to any law enforcement agencies other than Fort Worth. We've had a lot of interest over the years in groups that really want to go out and rescue victims and recover victims and help law enforcement. And I understand why, and actually that's where I was before I was a police officer. And I started realizing when I was in that world that I couldn't do what I wanted to do without being a police officer and without having a peace officer within Texas. And so it's hard, because I know you guys want to do work and I know you guys want to help, but we have so many rules and laws and regulations as far as moving juveniles and housing juveniles and CJIS and keeping track of information and people's social security numbers, that there's very, very limited, unfortunately, that we can do. And there is some bad blood between law enforcement and nonprofits, unfortunately. And that's something that we try to work really hard in Fort Worth as to being really, really positive towards law enforcement and towards nonprofits, excuse me. And so some law enforcement aren't probably going to be as open as they would like to be. And as maybe they should be to being helped by nonprofits. But
why is that?
well, honestly, sometimes they come in with an attitude like that that's really off-putting to law enforcement, to be honest. And so when you come in and think you're going to kick down doors and rescue people, when that's not the reality of human trafficking in America. There's nobody who's chained up in a basement and locked up that I've ever seen in now, 300, 400 plus cases of trafficking that I've worked. So when you come in like that, and when nonprofits come in like that, it's very difficult for us to work with them when we feel like we're going to be put in danger, or other people are going to be put in danger. And our number one priority is to keep people safe. And to rescue and recover people. I don't ever use the word rescue. I stopped using that a long time ago because I don't think that's accurate to what victims of human trafficking go through. So it's tough. It really is, because I would like to have more help. We're understaffed. There's a group called Freedom Shield that we like working with, and they've given us wonderful help, but we can't, unless I sign them up as a confidential informant, and then you go to court or something like that, we can't take your information very well. We can't, if we send you out on a surveillance mission, you're now an agent of the state, and I'm responsible for everything that you do, and I can be fired or go to prison for something that you guys do. And so it's very, very tough, and we've actually gone around and round and round with this on our unit. How we can better use nonprofits. How can we use them? Can we use them for surveillance? Can we use them for intel gathering? Deliver Fund is allowed, we can get intel from them, but even that causes problems because, well, how do we give that to our court system? How do we back up on it? Okay, so it's tough, and I wish we could work better more. If you want to come and talk afterwards, I'm happy to talk with you.
And then on top of that too, there are cybercrime task force that are nonprofits that work with law enforcement. But the main thing is also legislation-wise, it's private citizen versus law enforcement, and they don't want to get in the crossfire between that too. But we got to do something about it. But yes, sir, Mr. Cruz.